So I got a few things to say about this video that you might find interesting, but I need to start with the fact that I know there's going to be some jerkwads out there trying to tell me I'm being cruel to the poor innocent little wasps. How do I know this? Because I put a similar video up a couple of years ago where I was killing some fire ants, and I got a ton of hate mail from people telling me how cruel I was to those poor little innocent fire ants who were invading my yard, and suggested, why don't I just use poison to kill them the humane way like everybody else does? Well, I would always reply to those people and say, hey, have you ever actually seen an ant or wasp killed by poison? Does it look like they enjoy it? No. In many cases, it takes them minutes or hours to die. How can that be more humane than the instant death they got from my method? Just because I enjoy it does not necessarily mean that it's more painful to the animals. So you need to think about that. Unfortunately, I would send you to the video in question. However, it was removed by YouTube because too many people complained about it. So I hope the same thing does not happen to this video. For anyone who's actually interested to know what species of wasp that is in the video, it's actually Polistes exclamans. A lot of people would probably call them a yellow jacket, but they're distinctly different from yellow jackets, and they don't really have a particularly common name here in Texas, but we do have them all around here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's interesting to note, the first shot that I took, I thought that I had missed the nest, but upon closer inspection, I realized that the paintball had gone straight through the nest and splatted on the back of the brick, which is pretty interesting when you go back and you watch the video frame by frame. But my favorite shot is the last shot I took, where I take a cross section of the nest, and when played frame by frame, it's actually pretty spectacular, especially if you can identify the wasp that actually ends up getting splatted by the paintball and his remains are left all over the brick wall. So yeah, these wasps are still there. I'm probably going to have to go poison the rest of them just to get rid of them. But it's interesting. It started out, I filmed this video over the period of about 3 days. I went out 2 or 3 times a day and shot at them. And one of the reasons I did that is because I had to put the camera pretty close to the nest. And so I couldn't actually retrieve the camera until, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes after I had taken the shot and let them calm down and get back on the nest. I was actually taking the shots at a distance of about 15 feet, which is pretty challenging with a pistol. The last shot, however, was probably more like 5 feet away. Each time I'd take the shot, of course, I'd have to take off running because, believe me, they were not happy about it. But the interesting thing is, you'll notice that in the very beginning, there's about 20 wasps on that nest. And as I shoot each time, there are less and less wasps, but I don't kill that many of them. Each shot at most takes out 1 wasp. In many cases, I only took 5 or 6 shots. In many cases, no wasps were killed. After studying up a little bit on this particular species, I found out this particular species may, in many cases, have more than one nest around the area. And so when one nest is under attack, some of the wasps may go to a different nest. And now that I knocked half the nest off, there's only about 6 wasps left on it right now. Now, I've probably killed 3 or 4 of them with paintballs, but I think the rest of them went to the satellite nests. By the way, if you're wondering why some of the scenes are very sharp and clear and are full widescreen, and then some of the scenes are somewhat condensed and somewhat less detailed, the reason for that is because I used my Samsung Galaxy camera to record the video, and it does have a 120 frames per second mode for recording slow motion stuff. And unfortunately, when you do that, it has to reduce the resolution in order to compensate. And so some of the shots that I'm not using slow motion are nice and clear, like this one. And then some of the shots with the high speed is condensed. And so if you were wondering, that's the reason why. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And my advice to you is if you're going to shoot wasps with the paintball gun, you need to have a clear exit strategy. For when you pull that trigger, you need a place to go because they are